Hi, I'm Gaia Melikian, and I have the pleasure to be here with the talented, of course, handsome and charming, but always down to earth, Mr. Josh Duhamel.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gaia.
And this is Josh Duhamel. Thank you
How
so
are
much for
you?
joining me. And well, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Gaia. I love your place.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? I decorated it myself. We're going to talk about Josh's new movie, Lost in the Sun, available at a Redbox location nearest you on December 29th. First of all, Josh, congratulations on this great new project.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly a touching story. I really enjoyed watching it. It's certainly different than any role you've ever played before, I think. I mean, the character is just such a dark, brooding, disturbed, completely messed up type of a human being, right? But you did such an amazing job. And it's definitely a transformation from what you've done. And I'm telling you, mark my words, people are going to want to see more of that.
First of all, thank you for all that. That's
Yeah.
I really did love this story. I read this story probably 3 years ago, and Trey and I sort of worked over a period of 2 years to finally get it made. And here we are a year later, with our movie. And there was something about the story that was so simple yet intense, and there was a desperation about this guy, and an inability to sort of follow rules and the law. And it's not that he wants to be a criminal, it's just that that desperation leads him to make decisions that ultimately get him into a lot of trouble.
Right.
And he gets this kid into it with him too. And I don't think that was his intention, but the circumstances led him to this, and these two go on one crazy run.
Yeah. Definitely, I noticed that underneath all that disturbing turmoil, there was like this hidden goodness, perhaps a shred of goodness that he's trying to redeem himself. I felt like
Yeah,
that's
I think
what-
it's regret. I think that he knows
Yeah.
that he's pretty much screwed his life up.
Yeah.
And he's at that point where he just wants to make good on a few things. This is probably one of his biggest regrets, is this kid. And it's weighed on him, and it's sat in his stomach for all these years, and it's just something he can't quite get over. And he doesn't really know how to redeem himself because he knows he's a screw up. And I'm not even sure he has a plan when he takes this kid on the road with him.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely. I mean, I don't think anybody sets out to be a bad person. I think we all want to be good. It's just that some people have a harder time doing it.
Yeah.
And, for whatever reason.
Josh, I'm curious, how did you come across this project?
I came across this project from, I was sent a letter by Trey, the guy who wrote it and directed it. It's a really nice letter talking about, what this story, what he saw it as, and how he wanted to do it. And there's something very simple and direct about his writing that I love. And that's really how this came to be. I was like, you know what, I want to take a chance. He was a first-time director, but he seemed to be really talented. I'd seen some of his other documentary type stuff, and I was drawn to it. And I can't really explain why, but I just liked the story, and if I felt inspired by it, I would do it, and I did.
That's great. What I'm curious about is when you read the script, what enticed you to play this particular role?
I'm not consciously trying to do the darkest roles I can to get away from being, what I've done before, whether it's romantic or, action-y guy in the Transformers movies. I just want to do things that speak to me in some way. And I want complicated, flawed characters that don't always do the right thing, but have that really go on this journey. Whether they learn something through it all or get where they deserve in the end, which I think he does. That to me is, it's the story first, and then, as long as it's an interesting character that makes me inspired in some way.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Like I mentioned before, I really liked how dark and creepy this character was. So when you get such a role, how do you prepare for such a mindset? Like, how do you go there?
Because I'm just dark and creepy by nature. I was very close to this story, and what made this guy tick. Trey and I talked a lot about what it was that, what my reasoning was for what he did,
Right.
and why he did it. And I didn't want it to be like, oh, he's a criminal, so that's the way he behaves. No, there's a reason why these guys behave that way.
Right.
They don't choose this life, usually. I mean, some people, are addicted to the thrill and the adrenaline rush of, breaking the law. But I don't think that's this guy. I just think that I likened him to a coyote in a lot of ways, and that
Right.
he just does what he has to do to get to the next day.
It was just survival.
It's just survival.
Yeah.
It's desperation. It's getting through it, and just hopefully finding some peace at
Yeah.
the end of it all.
And to follow that question, how did you at the same time manage to make him somewhat likable?
Truthfully, I didn't set out to make him likable. It's not.
It was just your natural charm.
No. Well, yeah. It just flows from me.
Right.
It wasn't about trying to knowing how despicable he was.
Right.
Okay, I need to figure out how to make the audience like him. Screw that. I want the audience to see an honest depiction of this guy. And if he's likable, it's because he's a charming dude.
Right.
He's been able to get by on his charm
Right.
and his looks for all these years, and now that stuff is fleeting and it's starting to fade. He's got some teeth that
Right.
could probably use some fixing, and he's graying, and he's probably receding in his
Right.
hairline, and there's a lot of things that he doesn't. And he's living in his car. He probably smells. He hasn't changed jeans for a couple of weeks. There's.
Right.
This guy, he's desperate to get past this phase because he's been here for too long,
Right,
and he
right.
needs to make a change. And so that to me was what, he desperately tries to use whatever charm and good looks that he had before, and it's getting harder and harder as he gets
Right.
older.
Right. Not the most hospitable living situation, right?
No.
In the car. Smelly car. So I'm curious, because this was such a unique setup, how is it different on a project that involves working with one actor in all the scenes versus like a more traditional project that you're working with several actors in different scenes?
These are fun because you get in a real groove with Josh and I got in a real groove, and
Right.
when we started to just, be these guys, and we would sit there all day. And there's no trailers, there's no real luxuries on movies like this. You get out there, and it's all about the love of the game.
Right.
You're there because you love this project.
Right.
And that's what the crew was there for. Everybody was there for the right reasons. And
Right.
I love doing movies like this. There's something really authentic about it. And I think that comes through in movies like this because nobody's doing it because it's a big payday. It's because we love making movies and we like telling good stories.
Right.
And that's really what this was about.
It's more of a passion project.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And in shooting with Mini-Me Josh, did you ever feel a sense of responsibility to take your young co-star under your wings, especially as a new actor?
No. Actually, he took me under his wing. He's far more
Really?
mature than I am. Yes.
Oh,
He's
he taught you a thing or two?
Wiggins is a good kid, and he's a very smart kid. He isn't,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take anybody under my wing. If they want to learn from me, they can
Right.
just, if they like. But it's not on me to teach him anything. He can
Yeah.
learn it. He'll learn it as he goes. And
Yeah. He probably picked it up as he was, working
yeah,
with you, obviously, naturally.
I just try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Truly, I'm not perfect by any means.
Right.
And I'm definitely, I don't pretend to be somebody that my job is to teach, take anybody and teach them the ropes,
Right.
because I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I just hope I'm doing the right things as I go.
Yeah. No, that's very nice. School of life. I'm
Yeah.
all for that forever.
Absolutely.
So when you're reading a script, any script, right? Somebody hands it to you. Do you look for specific things in the script or in the character that you'd potentially play?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You read it, you're like, first of all, how is this a story that I want to be a part of? Is it something
Right.
that I think is fun and cool?
Right.
Is it new in some way? Is it a new opportunity for me to do something I haven't done? But first and foremost, is the story great? And I can usually tell if I start a script and I just go all the way through it and read it. and it engages me from the beginning. I put it down every 10 minutes and it's like, okay, I got to finish this. That's
Sort
not
of
a
a red
good sign.
flag.
You never know until I read it. You
Yeah.
know, if it and I can't explain what moves me. I mean,
Right.
sometimes things speak to me. I'm like, I'm about to start a movie in 2 weeks that my manager and agent were like, I don't know about this one. It's too
Yeah.
dark and twisted. It's like, I was like, and I read it. I was like, I'm absolutely doing this.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't know what moves me, but I feel like I had to do it.
Right.
And I can't describe why.
Yeah. Something new, something ticks inside of you,
Yeah.
and it creates that passion. You're like, I want to do this. Makes sense.
Yeah. I don't want to sit there for 2 months on a set for 17 hours a day and not be completely inspired by it.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense.
Life's too short. I'd rather be home with my son if that's the case.
Oh,
and my
absolutely.
wife.
On that note, we were just talking about, has that changed for you over time? Has it evolved what you look for, or is it just continuously if something strikes you and you just go for it?
Well, in the beginning, you just try to get whatever you can to break into the business. And,
Right.
You know, and I never take for granted the fact that I get to work. And I always feel like maybe this is the last time I'll ever work. So that's why I get everything I have every time. So, you know, early on, and maybe this is why people want to pigeonhole me as a romantic, romantic comedy. I've literally only done 2 romantic comedies, yet that's what I'm known for. It's now about just doing things that inspire me.
Okay. Imagine you have an entire day all to yourself, anywhere on the face of this planet. Where would you be, and what would you be doing?
A day by myself?
Yeah. Josh, me time.
I really love beaches in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Pretty much tropical places anywhere where I can maybe golf a little bit, read a little bit, surf a little bit, a couple shots of tequila
Right.
later on in the day. That just sounds really good. I need a vacation. My wife and I keep talking. We need to go someplace like far away and just.
Bora Bora.
Costa Rica's awesome.
Okay.
Mexico's awesome.
That's nice.
Monterey, California is awesome.
On that note, though, I see that you love to meditate. Should I leave it at that, or
How do you know
wanna...
that? Oh, you're talking about the nude meditation?
I don't know. Should I leave it at that, or you want to elaborate?
That's part of that was
part of your trip?
That was a movie. That was part of this movie Spaceman that I did.
Okay.
That I was telling you about. And it was this character she's a free spirit.
Right.
And he meditates and
Right.
he nude meditates.
Okay.
I meditate. I think everybody should meditate. It's
Absolutely.
great.
It's
Visualize.
good for the soul.
If you want it, you got to visualize it.
It's very true. It's good for the soul. Mm-hmm. All right, Josh, thank you so much. Congratulations again on all of your success.
Okay.
You're truly a pleasure to speak with. I had so much fun. Thank you so
you.
much again. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Gaia.
Thank you.